Not favorite wife, Robyn, is in the news again. This time it's an article that In Touch just published regarding her divorce from her first husband, David Preston Jessup. And honestly, getting married and divorced and then remarried is pretty common nowadays and not really worthy of a news article. But this situation with David and Robyn has always been a mystery to most of us in the Sister Wives audience. With the little information they gave us, it just never quite made sense. David never said anything publicly, even as his ex-wife came to be on one of TLC's most popular reality shows, and anything Robyn ever said was always very vague and missing any concrete details that we could use to actually piece together some understanding of what her life was like before the show. And even now, with this new article by In Touch, there are still some questions. But hey, that's fine. Let's talk about what they shared in the article and then see what else we can glean from these newly released details. Robyn and David got married in June of 1999. Robyn was 20 years old and David was 19. By most standards, that's pretty young, right? Well, in season 6, episode 6 of the show Sister Wives, Robyn explained why that marriage had to happen.
She took her purity and she gave it to someone who begged for it. And he begged for it and begged for it. So she gave it away. Because I was just in a weird spot, I started dating this kid and I actually made a mistake and I changed my standards. There was only one thing that he wanted. And so I got pregnant. And she spent her whole life trying to get it back, but you only have one. And it broke her heart, and she spent her whole life being sad about it. And then when she finally found the guy that she was supposed to be with, she had to go to him and say, look, I gave away my purity to someone else. He kind of stole it from me. And this was supposed to be yours.
First of all, Robyn's framing of this situation is interesting to me. She was in tears about what she called the biggest mistake of her life, even though the result of that mistake, her son, Dayton, born David Jr., was sitting in the room looking right at her. She also went back and forth with her feelings about the moment. In one moment, she wanted to give away her purity and she was being rebellious. But in the next moment, the guy took it from her and he broke her heart. I mean, I get it, these types of moments for any young person, but maybe especially one who grew up as sheltered as what I think Robyn grew up in. It's an emotional moment and it's difficult to make sense of. But please remember that in season 6 of the show, the clips that we just saw, Robyn is a 30-something-year-old adult, a biological mom of 3 kids, spiritual mom to many more. That's the time for her to get her messaging precise and a moment for her to move herself out of victimhood. Unless, of course, she's saying that she was a victim, and then that's a different conversation with a different message. But if she really wants the kids to understand the value of purity, then I found it troublesome for her to conflate sexual assault with chastity. Okay, moving on. The article says David and Robyn separated in 2007 and were officially divorced in 2009. Keep that date in mind as we recall that Sister Wives first aired in September 2010. So if their production schedule was anything like it is now, then they probably filmed season 1 in mid to late 2009. And by the time filming started, Robyn and Cody had been courting for a while. So it's likely Robyn's divorce was either not yet finalized or was just finalized when her and Cody officially got together. This is only interesting because I'm sure you remember Robyn has said a couple of times that she got many proposals from many other men. But somehow she always failed to mention that must have all happened within just a few months at most. Interestingly, In Touch says that court documents reveal that David was the petitioner of the divorce, meaning that he was the one who initiated the divorce proceedings. But on her Twitter account many years ago, Robyn tweeted, quote, just to clarify, I do not tolerate my kids getting bullied. I ended my first marriage because of abuse. My kids come first always. Now, it's definitely plausible that both statements are true, Robyn alleges there was abuse. David initiated the divorce. But again, it's like just enough information to let us know there's a lot more to this story that they're choosing not to share with us. According to In Touch, the paperwork that David filed says the reason for their divorce was that their marriage was irretrievably broken and there was serious marital discord. Now, marital discord could mean anything, but one thing we know they disagreed about was polygamy. In an episode that I don't remember which one, so if you do, please let us all know, Robyn said that they never got to take a second wife into her first marriage, even though she wanted to. And in their book, Becoming Sister Wives, Robyn wrote that David had misled her. And even though they had planned to bring in more wives, which is what she thought the plan was, he never actually agreed to do it. In Touch reports that at the time of the divorce, David was a contractor and Robyn was unemployed. She was probably a stay-at-home mom to their 3 kids, which I do personally roll my eyes at when I have to put unemployed on a legal document, because taking care of 3 kids is actually work. But okay, I digress. After the divorce, David was ordered to pay $159 per month in child support. Robyn talked about the state of the child support payments briefly in season 8, episode 7.
So when would you start doing anything with the kids? As soon as possible. Things worked out together. I mean, like, we had to get certain things in place and trying to get a hold of my lawyer and trying to, no child support, no this, no that.
So the courts might have ordered $159 a month, but according to Robyn, David didn't pay that. But it's not all gloom and doom, because remember, it wasn't that long after her divorce was finalized that Robyn and her kids got a major financial boost from TLC, Cody, and the rest of the Browns. In Touch goes on to say that once David learned that Robyn was serious with Cody, which probably didn't take long for David to hear about because David and Christine are first cousins, he contacted the 2 of them and the courts to see about a step-parent adoption. It sounds like David was interested in that, at least partially because he would no longer be on the hook for child support. But once he learned that allowing Cody to adopt the kids would mean he wouldn't get visitation with them anymore, then In Touch says that he stopped pursuing that. Now, of course, I don't know all the details of this, like what exactly changed for David, but something changed because Cody and Robyn got legally married in 2014, and then Cody adopted all 3 of David's children. This is all the more interesting when we consider this detail that In Touch reported. Apparently there was a custody meeting and David, quote, refused to let the children say they wanted Cody to adopt them. In Touch goes on to say that he accused Robyn of forcing their kids to choose Cody over him. And later, Robyn then took the kids to a child psychologist who determined that spending time with their father was causing them anxiety. Oh my gosh, this is so much to try to put in order, and it's only made harder by the fact that these are real people and real kids. They're older now, late teens, early 20s, but this is personal and real to them, and I don't want to be silly about it, but this all seems very chaotic. According to In Touch, David felt like Robyn was coercing the kids into abandoning him as their real dad, and there's footage from the show backing up that claim. I know you remember that picture. I know you know what I'm talking about too. But if you don't, that's okay. Let's look at it together. This is from season 9, episode 10. In this episode, the adoption had been finalized and the Brown family was having a huge party, a celebration at home to acknowledge the fact that the 3 kids were now officially Browns. So Robyn literally erased the kid's biological dad and replaced him with Cody. This picture is, of course, made all the more bonkers when you remember that the original picture was of Cody with Christine's kids. So Robyn not only erased her kid's dad, but also erased Christine's children. At some point in time, David stopped asking to see his kids. In Touch says that after the divorce was finalized, the parenting plan was updated to reflect that he no longer requested regular visits with the children. And that information is backed up by the Browns, who did their best to point out that David was out of the picture. Mary, Christine, and Robyn all separately tweeted that David hadn't seen the kids in years and that Cody was being a much more present and involved dad than their biological father was. Although then it gets weird again because after the adoption was finalized, Cody and Robyn decided to send their kids to Montana to spend time with David. Again, let's look at season 9, episode 10, where they briefly mention this.
You know,
1, 2, 3.
And we are now sending the kids back to Montana to see Robyn's ex. And when they get back from that, we're planning a big party, a celebration for the adoption.
It doesn't quite make sense to me. They alleged David was abusive and he didn't want to spend time with the kids. And when he did spend time with them, he gave them anxiety. But they still send the kids out of state to be alone with him. Robyn went on to say that she was nervous about everything, and her son Dayton said that he just hoped his dad would be able to enjoy the time that they all have together. Christine even went so far as to say this.
I can see the value that Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna need to always have a good relationship with their biological father. The family that they have in Montana, they're good people. It's just really hard to let them go. It's really hard to let
Truthfully,
them go.
she might be talking about the fact that that is also her family that they're going to visit. We just don't know, but it's clear that there is some information that's either inaccurate or just missing. But one thing we do know is that up to this point, David has never talked to the media, even though the media has tried for many years to get him to talk. And the article says that some court document reveals that David had Robyn in his phone listed under Reality Witch, but with a B. Years ago, anonymous people close to David said that he didn't want his kids' lives to be broadcast on TV. So he's obviously very private, but that's obviously not what happened. Okay, so let's start wrapping this up, right? The article from InTouch gives us some interesting information, but to me, it just inspires more questions. Personally, I don't think we're ever going to get the answers to these questions. I mean, Robyn has no incentive to tell us more about her marriage to David Jessup, and David has so far stayed completely disconnected from the public conversation. And that's amazing considering how much money he could get just for telling his story. Of course, some people think he might have had to sign a NDA at some point or made some other legal agreement to not spill the beans on Robyn. But as far as I know, that's just a rumor for now. Okay, let me know what you think. Is the story of Robyn's first marriage of any interest to you? Or are you feeling like this was so long ago that the details don't really matter anymore? I could see this going either way. Yes, it was a long time ago, but it's interesting just as we try to understand who Robyn is now. Like, it's interesting to see where she was before and what her first marriage shows us about who she is and who she was. Anyway, that's my thoughts, but let me know what you think. Yeah, are you interested in this? Let me know in the comments, and either I'll see you down there or in my next video, because these Browns, they always have something going on, and I want to talk about all of it with you. All right, take care. Bye.